Hey, Metro.
What's up, Louisville? My name is Will.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to another episode of Numbers and Beyond. Here you'll be getting our thoughts and opinions on all kinds of sports.
We got a lot of them.
Let's get into the locals.
All right, so we'll just touch on the Louisville Bats real quick. Their current record is 39-51. Can't wait to see that turnaround. It's going to get a little bit better. I got faith in them.
Yeah, I think they won last night, so
Yeah.
Let them cook. That's what I say. Let them cook.
Hey, their lineup isn't bad. It's actually amazing whenever I look at their lineup that, they've not won more than what they have. They've won a decent amount, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking them by any stretch. Mm-hmm. But, and they didn't start off with the lineup that they have now. They just added Reese Hines into it too. They've got a really solid lineup. And I think, I don't know, I think they're going to keep going.
Like I said, let them cook. We'll see what they're at towards the end of the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So keeping in with baseball then.
Keeping in with baseball, this past week has been an epic week for baseball. Home runs have been at an all-time high, and I'm loving it. I'm loving to see it. This is what I watch baseball for. I am not very entertained by boring sports per se, but baseball. Let's be clear, the Cubs had another record-breaking game. 8 home runs in one game. Are we serious? Whole lineup was hitting home runs. It was Pete Crow had 2. I think Michael Bush had 2. We had Dansby hitting 1. Suzuki hitting 1. Amazing. Look, July 4th was a day to remember on the home runs, especially for the Cubs.
We celebrate our freedom, and they celebrated the freedom of the home runs.
Woo, woo.
Out the park.
Time to go.
I'm just saying, Independence Day is real. Independence for the baseballs, too.
Yeah. Right now, the Cubs are sitting pretty in their spot. I'm loving to see it. The Mets are also starting to impress me a whole lot more. I know I said this last week, but they had another good week this week against teams that, in my opinion, they're not better than. So,
the Orioles got them 5-3 the other day, and I watched that game, and you could tell, one thing about the Mets, right? They tend to go through this mid-season slump before the All-Star game. It's actually rather common, but for them, it seems like it's a trend. But then they start to kind of bump back up right before they get to it. And one thing I think is fun about them is they don't stay down. They don't get down on themselves. They continue to play, and even if you're having a rough patch like they tend to have in these little spurts, they always still stay up towards the top of the league because they get back up on it and they win their games. And they don't always blow out their opponents, but they're good for a home run. They're good for a few RBI to get the game over, whatever it takes. Their pitching is always good enough. And their fielding, of course, is usually unquestionable. So I think the Mets are going to continue to be that team. The question is going to be the same thing that happened to him last year. Are they going to hold it all season, or are they going to eventually crumble?
I believe they're going to hold it all season. Like I said, I'm starting to be up on the Mets a little bit.
I think the addition of Soto will really.
Soto is really starting to impress me
exactly.
In that Mets lineup. His positioning in it, he probably needs to be a little bit lower inside of it, so they can hide that power. But his position in the lineup right now is perfect. They got Petey right behind them.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. You look at a lot of the teams in the league. They like to get their power hitters up front. They want them out first, and it's a scary first 3 to 5 players depending on what team you look at. Mm-hmm. Again, we talk about the Dodgers pretty much every time. They're a prime example. Their first several hitters, their first half of their hitting order is just you almost are afraid to pitch to them.
You want to talk about who's in a slump?
I don't disagree. The Dodgers are looking a little. Hey, you remember what was fun? They said they were going to lose 16 games in the season. People were calling it like that. I'm like, yeah. And I didn't think so. They're not that good. They're great.
Wait, I was about to say, let's not get disrespectful now.
Hey, hold on, hear me out. They're not that great to be a only 16-loss team. Because
you're correct.
But they're great as a team, and this little slump ain't gonna stay. It's gonna turn around, and I know. I don't doubt.
But it's definitely disappointing. I think they just got swept in their last series. The Yankees just got swept in their last series too. They are definitely. That's a slump that we need to discuss. And I don't care who's on the lineup. they're not performing the way that they need to.
They're not. They're really not. And it's almost like it's the Aaron Judge show right now over there. Mm-hmm. And
I'm sick of hearing about him.
Yeah. When we talk about Yankees, right? Whenever I talk to people about the Yankees, they always talk about Aaron Judge because, to be fair, he is the face of the team right now, and that's understandable. But like, that's all you hear about. And when the Yankees are losing, they want to blame it on all these other things, and yet when it's a success, they only talk about Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge's problem is so far greater than just his hitting. Because let's be clear, I don't care how many times you go yard, you don't put it into play any other time. Any other time, he's out. Also, his defense is crazy bad. Crazy bad. I don't care how you look at it.
Do you think
he's not an actual factor on the team to me?
Do you think that he is where he is and he is as good as he is because of his batting, and that's where you think like that's his primary focus?
Yes.
I think it is. I think he wants to hit the ball, and obviously, like you said, he wants to go yard, but that's what he wants to do. That's what he focuses on. And don't get me wrong, that gets points. Whenever you need a point, he's a good shot at getting it. But like for example, Cincinnati, that was something early on in the season that we were seeing. A lot of the guys were just trying to power hit. They were, Ellie was just going for home run all the time.
That's exactly what he was doing.
And now the team has developed more into how they play. The lineup has gotten better. They figured out who's good at what. They moved people around on the bases. They tried different defensive lineups, right? And it's incredible to see how they turned their season around, because they started off looking okay, and then they just seemed like they were crashing. They were losing game after game, and then they turned it around. Not saying we win them all, but I mean we were the only team there for the longest that hadn't even lost been swept in the series.
Yeah, honestly, I like the way the Reds are playing this year.
I do too. That's my team.
Not a problem with it.
I can't deny that I'm a little biased.
They're just not playing. They're just not playing up to you're gonna have to get the World Series type of deal right now. They're not going that far.
So if you were to put let's talk about the Reds and the Yankees then. If you were going to put the Reds and the Yankees up against each other, who do you think? Let's say a 3-game series, who wins that series? Not sweat, but win.
I'd say the Reds, and that's only because the Reds have better pitching.
We do. Mm-hmm.
They have 10 times better pitching, and when the Dodgers don't go up against weak pitchers, they fall. 7 times out of 10, they fail each time. It's when they go up against people with like 5.66 ERAs and stuff like that. That's when they go crazy for some reason. But it's more than that. The Dodgers don't have the defense to stop Ellie. They don't have the pitching to stop any of the hitters, because the Reds have some nice, I think they first 6.
Really, the whole roster. I mean,
the whole roster is good, but we're talking about their first 6 at the lineup.
Yeah,
they're all smackers. So I just don't think they have the defense or the pitching for any of that.
I mean, you got a lot of hitters in Cincinnati. You don't just have Elliott. You have McClain.
Correct.
You got
Spencer
Friedel.
Steele.
You got Steer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of these guys that can hit it. Not only can they hit home runs, but they can get on base and
Austin
fast.
Hayes.
And, yeah,
you got
of course.
Gavin Lux. I mean, there's a lineup. When I'm looking at the lineup, the Yankees have better hitters, but they don't have better anything else. Did we talk about that game where
Spencer Steer hit 3 home runs? Mm-hmm. Did we talk about that on here?
No, we didn't talk about it on here, but we talked about it.
If y'all want to see a game, it was against, oh goodness, they were playing, was that the Padres? I think it might have been. But it was a 3-run, he went 3 for 3 in his first 3. He wound up going 3 for 4 at the end of the game, but he went 3 for 3, and all were home runs. And the best part about it, I remember watching the game, and I'm sitting there, and he comes up for the 3rd time. Like, the first time he hit it, I was hyped. The second time he hit it, I'm like, that's crazy. The 3rd time, though, I got up and, like, you could feel like we needed that, too. It wasn't like it was just, we can just casually have, like, it was a tight game. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, man, like, that's wild. Like, we need this run. And just, like, the pitching count, pitch after pitch, it wasn't happening the first couple. I think it was on the 4th pitch that he hit it. And I just remember I could feel that in the air, and he just smacked it, and there was just something about that, like where he hit it, you heard the contact, and you watched the ball go, and you're like, no way, this can actually happen, and it did. It was the most amazing moment for me watching the Reds in a long time. And I'm not saying that they haven't had good games. I mean, Nick Martinez almost pitched a perfect game with 9 innings. He only gave up a hit in the 9th. But that moment was just epic. Coming up the 4th time, I'm like, if he hits one now, that's just. But even though he didn't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't take away anything from him. And that's the thing. You have a guy like Aaron Judge who goes up and does it. I feel like it would be a different feeling than what it is when you have a guy like him, Spencer Steer, go up there and hit that 3 times, 3 home runs in a row. Crazy.
I just had to let you fangirl out for a second.
I'm just saying,
you were just going crazy.
Baseball has changed with the speed of the game and with the pitching. I feel like it's not just the pitching has improved. The hitting. The game is so much different, and the speed and the intensity of which they have to play is a little more focused and direct. And I don't know. There's just some moments in baseball that I feel like are more. They have a way of producing an emotion that no other sport does, because it's not like in basketball. You're not having back and forth on the court, constantly taking shots and the ball moving. It's the pitcher versus the batter, and there's something there that you just get into that moment. And you're just waiting in the anticipation, and then boom. And
I love watching it too. It's like I said, bat to ball. That's my steez. But I need to see a complete team. I have to see a complete team for me to say, oh, they're it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't get that from the Yankees. No. I don't. I didn't get it from them last year either, but they made it to the World Series. So let's not take my opinion by heart, but let's just say I know when I see some greatness going on. And I don't see it out of the Yankees. I don't really see it out of the Reds either, but it's completely different than how I feel about the Yankees.
See, the Yankees have an expectation, right? And see, when we talk about this, everybody, we're giving our opinions and our thoughts on this stuff. We don't know everything about it, but we love it, so we dive into it. We get into these focused thoughts, and when we talk about teams, we may not have everything, but when we watch it, we pay attention to it, and I think the Yankees particularly have a higher level of expectation, I think anybody would think, because they were in the World Series.
Mm-hmm. Just like the Dodgers. Yeah. The Dodgers don't get to disappoint me this year. I don't care how you look at it. They better make the playoffs, and they better make it to the World Series. But that's just me as a fan. That's not me as, Okay, let's get into the NFL real quick.
Before we get into the NFL, hold on. We got to talk about one more thing.
What is that?
Who is the team in the NBA to beat? I could say the Thunder. Obviously, they should be the team to beat, right? Because they won the championship. They should be the team.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say the Celtics.
No. Okay. I just wanted to get your opinion.
I like the Celtics. I always have. I would love to say the Lakers, but
Nah. I definitely wouldn't say that either.
Let's see. Also, give me Denver.
You know what? That's exactly what I was thinking, and that's what's messed up. I'm actually thinking Denver this year. Mm-hmm. I think they're gonna do something. Now, I believe I read that there's something going on there with Jokic over there in Denver right now. So I'm not sure if it's a contract thing or not. I have to go back and look a little further.
Yeah, I have to look at it.
Definitely, I think if Jokic is going to continue to play there and do what he does, and they give him a little bit more, I think Denver might honestly be the team. I mean, they took the Thunder to 7 games. That's not.
It wasn't an easy feat.
They're the champs, so they did it, and then they did it on the back of Jokic, but they did do it regardless of I was saying all the time about how one man did it, and it's true. It really seems like he did. But as a team, even regardless, they still pulled together and they took them to 7, which is really crazy.
I really want to start hearing from the people that watch this on who they think, because we give a lot of our opinions on this show. But I want to know what other people think. Like I want to hear who their favorite teams is this year. If you all want to comment who y'all's favorite team is this year, and please tell me why, because I'm gonna be asking. Yeah. Okay, but into the NFL. Let's start off with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is clearly in his last year. This is his last ship to try to get. How you think that's gonna pan out?
Man, look, I can't see this going. I don't see this being a Super Bowl year for the Steelers. I'm sorry, I don't. I think Aaron Rodgers might be able to get them into the playoffs as a wild card team, to be frank. The Steelers tend to. It isn't just the players, but the coaching there is Mike Tomlin's really good, and I think.
His eyes be bulging out of his head, but he does his job.
Listen,
that man looks like he's going to have a heart attack every time I see him.
Even with that, though, you got to think he's been coaching for a long time. He's got a legendary
respect
record,
to him. Respect to him.
So the biggest thing that's going to really have to work for the Steelers and for Aaron Rodgers especially, something that he struggled with in Green Bay off and on was if we did not have a good running game. Green Bay had an issue though where they didn't like to run as much as they should have, even when they had good running backs, and we had many over the years. But as a Green Bay fan myself, I can say that that was one of our biggest downfalls many times, is we did not ever establish a truly great running game and giving Aaron Rodgers somebody that he can hand the ball off to and give him a break, And I think that's what they're going to have to do in Pittsburgh, and they're going to have to do it well. The offensive line is going to have to perform both great in run blocking and pass blocking, because Rodgers has to have time. He can't move around like he used to. He's going to look for the quicker dump-offs, or he's going to look down the field. He's not going to hit as many of the intermediate routes, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But I don't know that I think personally that this is a Super Bowl run for them.
See, this year for the Super Bowl, I'm really feeling like an underdog. Somebody that nobody's really expecting. If it could be anybody, if not Shador, if it could be anybody, I could say Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he now has a team that all around last year was a great team other than their quarterback. Well, the Steelers could have made it somewhere last year if it wasn't for their offense. Their offense was crazy bad.
After they started Russell.
After they started Russell, yeah. I said it last year. Nobody listened to me. I said it. I told them I was going, at the beginning of the year, when I found out Justin was going, I was like, okay, I'm going to stay away from the Steelers. I didn't bet on them. I didn't do anything because I knew they were going to win. I knew they were going to start winning. And as soon as they told me Russell was coming, I made some money.
Look,
I knew it.
I'll say that the Steelers, after Roethlisberger retired, they've had a lot of controversy with quarterback. Because, it's not unlike any other team that has a legendary quarterback that retires. Who's going to fill his shoes? And that, I think, is really the issue with Pittsburgh. Is it's always been kind of dramatic in the offseason for who's going to be that quarterback, right? And I think that in this case with Rodgers coming in, it's not like you're bringing in a young Rodgers. It's not the next future Ben Roethlisberger. It's not the next future Aaron Rodgers. It is the current Aaron Rodgers, who is coming off of 2 years with the Jets, one of which he sat out pretty much the entire year because of an injury in Game 1. And then in Game 2, he kind of lit up at the end of the year, but I feel like he's not going to be that quarterback that people might think he still is, because as a fan of Green Bay, right, I watched his rise and I watched his decline. And I think what people tend to forget about him is he is a system quarterback. Now, he's amazing as a quarterback. He can make some crazy good plays, but he needs a system. And the problem I think that you're going to run into in Pittsburgh is his receiving corps. So that's where I think his downfall is going to be at. If the running game does well, it'll give him some time and some room to work with.
You don't think his receiving corps is
Nah, it's not going to be what... It's decent. That's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is it's not what he needs. Whenever you look in Green Bay, when he had a true number one receiver like Devontae, right? Great. But then he always had at least one or two other receivers that were really, really good. And
he has at least one other. He got George Pickens and he has Calvin Austin.
that doesn't spark anything in a defense. They're just going to make sure they cover DK. And I mean, even if Calvin gets open, Rodgers doesn't look for the number 2 as much. He tends to look for the number 1. That's where his eye goes to, and he's good at reading defenses. Don't get me wrong; his knowledge of the game is elite. But the problem isn't his knowledge of the game. The problem is the style that defenses play now compared to when he was in his prime, and how that receivers, how they play too. DK is a physical, big receiver, which Devontae was too. So whenever he's looking, he's going to look for DK. DK can bully a man, that's for sure, right? That's one of the things that made him great in Seattle. And that's why he was a favorite target for several years. And I think he has the same ability in Pittsburgh, but none of the other receivers are gonna stay or be able to step up in that same capacity as Tyler Lockett could with DK, right? You're not gonna see that there. Even Pat Freiermuth, don't get me wrong, he's a cool tight end. I think he's really good. He can block, he can get open on routes, but he's not an elite tight end.
That's why I didn't understand why Russell targeted him so much last year.
Because there was some hype. There was some hype. He came out of, I believe it was Iowa, and he was really good. And he came into the NFL. He got drafted to Pittsburgh, and that was about it. He had good numbers, but it wasn't.
The target. Like, I don't understand.
He's a big man, and quarterbacks look for the big guys nowadays. Again, tight ends are getting like again with Rodgers, he's going to look for DK because he's a big guy. Freiermuth might offer him a secondary target because he's a big man. These quarterbacks look for the big guys because they're open, they're easier to throw to, and while they're maybe not as the fastest, they're still a great target. Look at Mahomes, how much he targets Kelsey all the time. Lamar used to target Mark Andrews all the time, and he still targets tight ends, but Andrews, of course, is not quite as good as he was.
And I don't see Lamar. I don't see Mahomes. I know what you're going to say, but I don't see Josh Allen. I don't see any of them going to the Super Bowl this year.
I think that's why.
No, I don't see not nary one of them.
Okay, so
why? First off, let's start off with Mahomes. They barely made it last year. Through every game, and it irritates me that their record was so good. It baffles me. Like, I get it. I know how this sounds. They had a very good record last year, but every game was bull. It was all bull. That's why I knew they were going to lose the Super Bowl to the Eagles. I said it for a whole month of Sundays, that they were going to lose that championship to the Eagles. There was no way. Their problem right now is, and I'm going to let you get into it. Their problem right now is their offense. Because all they have is Mahomes. It's that his receivers and all of that is good. And I get it, but it's Mahomes, and they're all reliant on him. You could tell their defense crazy good. Why? Because they were able to hold teams down to a certain amount of points and then let Mahomes come in and finish the job.
Well,
it just irritates me that their record was so good last year, but every game, if you go back and watch every game, it was all boring. There was no actual play in there.
So one of the things that I think I definitely agree with you on is their offense, but I think the biggest downfall I'm just talking on Super Bowl because we could talk about their whole year, but every team has ups and downs, so I'm not even going to get
that's actually my problem with
the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs had an inflated record, I feel like, for sure. They should not have won as many as they did, but regardless, they made it through the playoffs, which is hard, no matter what team you are. And then they got into the Super Bowl. And the one thing that I talk about, this is all off camera when we talk about this stuff in our just personal lives, offensive line. People forget about the trenches way too much. They talk about everything else, but the game comes down to what happens when that ball is snapped between the offensive and defensive line. And Patrick Mahomes used to be a lot better at extending plays, but he's been injured a time or two. He's not as mobile. His agility is a little bit lower. His arm strength maybe He's going to his 9th year. You know, you got to think there's going to be a little bit of wear and tear on his body now. He made it to a tough Super Bowl where the Eagles were just pressuring. And if you think about it, they were so confident in covering those receivers downfield because, I'll be honest, his receivers weren't very good. His main target was Kelsey, and even that wasn't the most stellar thing.
Hey, Worthy show.
Hey, Worthy was worthy at times.
Worthy was definitely worthy at times.
But look,
but you just explained why I say the Chiefs probably aren't going next year.
I agree.
Also, Lamar.
Yeah.
Lamar. I know Louisville, don't kill me, all right?
Man.
That boy only has one more year for me. One more year. He doesn't go to if he doesn't at least go to the ship, I'm not talking about him as a GOAT anymore. I will not, I can't not, I shan't not, okay? He doesn't deserve it. He's literally dropping the ball every time, and we're still saying, well, he's still Lamar Jackson. I get it. He's having record-breaking seasons. Nice numbers. You're not doing what counts. So no, I'm not going for Lamar this year either.
The only thing that I'm going to say is that he's missing a little bit on that receiving core. The receiving core is struggling. Mark Andrews is not up to where he needs to be. And, I mean, he's still great, but he ain't as great as he was. And really, last year, they had Zay Jones as the primary target, and he was in his second year, right? He did great, but that's not a team that is built for physicality in a division that is a very physical division. Cleveland plays mean and hard. Pittsburgh plays mean and hard. And let's not even talk about Cincinnati. Right? Mm-hmm. You know, you pegged them earlier for a Super Bowl team.
I definitely do.
So I see
Cincinnati going.
Right. I don't think that you're right on him not being able to be the GOAT eventually, even if you said this is like his last year to be in that talk. If you don't make it, then it's going to happen. Okay. So, one last question.
My last question is, how many more chances are we giving Lamar? But
my last question.
Y'all can answer that in the comments, all right?
Are the Eagles repeating?
Not at all. I can answer that for y'all.
Absolutely agree.
All right. Thank you, Metro. We thank you for tuning in and watching. My name is Will.
And I'm Ben.
And this is Numbers and Beyond. Peace.